Welcome to Sassy and Successful, the podcast where you're going to find stories full of stress, success, and lots of sass. With me today, Carine Osusky, Managing Director of Czech Republic GE International.
Hi.
Yay! Welcome, Carine.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. First of all, what is GE International?
Oh, okay. GE International is an freight forwarding company. So oftentimes when I tell people that I own a freight forwarding company, they have no idea what that means.
100%.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of disclosure. I work in the same industry, so I got exactly the same problems.
Okay, so but the way that I explain it in a nutshell is that we help businesses move their goods from A to B. So logistics management in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, it's moving things from A to B, and it doesn't matter if it's a small box or if it's like a
massive container.
massive crane.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. So that's
yeah.
what people, they're like, oh, so what do you move? And I'm like, you'd be surprised
Yeah.
what move. And I'm surprised what moves out of Czech Republic to the rest of the world. Like at the moment, I'm shipping 40 tons of nails from Czech to America. So
Nails?
40 tons of nails.
Like
yeah.
the
like steel nails, like to hammer.
I thought like the nails of it, and I was like, whoa, someone got a fashion emergency, which it can totally happen.
can
Like
happen.
in our industry, it can definitely happen.
Yeah, so that's what I do, and I started the business from scratch last year, so it's been in operation for a year already.
That's amazing. But you're not located here in Australia.
No. I'm visiting. I'm Australian, as you can probably tell by my accent. But I married a Czech 10 years ago, and we moved to the Czech Republic. So I live in Czech Republic.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the business, it's located in Czech Republic.
Yes.
You run it from there.
Yes.
But you're Australian.
Yes.
So, okay, I can relate to this story,
Okay.
especially, I'm Mexican in Australian. It's just my younger brother, it's here.
Okay.
So, and he just moved like last April. So my
Okay.
support network's pretty much my brother and my friends. But like I have 6 years living here.
Wow,
I didn't
okay.
have that support network probably just 3 years ago. I've been having
Right.
that support network. So like living 10 years in Czech Republic, especially in a language, and this is where I'm gonna have and go back and forth to the conversation,
course.
because English, it's not my first language.
Okay, wow.
So
English is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I come from a city called Motherhood,
Okay.
and it's pretty much next to the border with the United States.
Okay.
So like there were a lot of bilingual schools and things like that, but like I speak Spanish my whole life.
Wow.
So I can definitely understand like you being pretty much in the middle of Europe.
Cold.
Cold Europe.
Freezing.
It's not Czech, it's not your first language.
No.
And it's not even the dominant language there.
No, English is not. And I have to say that I don't look like anybody there as well. Like,
Oh.
because Czechs are like tall and blonde and I'm short and dark. So yeah, I really, it is quite different.
Yeah, of course. It's one of those things where you kind of, and I'm pretty sure this happened to you, and I want to go back to that, where you have a lot of mental breakdowns of like, what am I doing here? Like you start
Yeah, for
having
sure.
identity crisis, or at least that happened to me, where it's like, I don't look like anyone here. I don't speak like anyone here. I don't have the same customs that anyone here.
Yeah.
So you start kind of going back to teenage days when you start trying to fit and like to see like, okay, if this is who I am, let me see how I can do, like to either to fit or to adapt. I
Yeah.
think it's like, adapt and die.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but the interesting part of your story is that you were not in the freight forwarding industry. So the
no,
same amount
no.
the company has is the same amount of like, I don't want to say knowledge, but the same exposure, like the exposure that you have to the industry.
Yes,
which,
exactly. And I'm sure we're going to get into it, but I made a lot of mistakes and it was a huge learning curve because my background is insurance and operations management. So yeah, I had no idea what a container is or
Yeah,
like dimensions and volumes.
At least on my side, I have a bachelor in international business. So
Okay.
actually I saw kind of it in the in the school.
Right.
So like I have a little bit of it, but that's because, you know, professional and study wise.
Yes.
But insurance, it's definitely not even in the same world. I mean, it is because you can insure the cargo and things like that. But what made you shift from insurance to freight forwarding?
Well, to be completely transparent, I didn't ever plan to get into this industry. So I was working in the insurance industry in Australia, and I was really lucky to find a role in the Czech Republic as well, quite soon after moving there, actually. And that really helped with the transition because I straight away started at a senior level. And I went to Czech Republic expecting just to work in a call center, to be honest. I had no illusions that they would hire somebody that only speaks English. And I was attending some meetup events, and I met this girl who said, you know, I've got a friend of mine that's looking for a job. I think you'd be perfect for him. And I said, oh yeah, doing what? And she said, oh, insurance. I said, okay, here's my resume. And he read my resume, invited me in for an interview, and he's like, okay, so this is what your office is going to be. I said, what do you, like, aren't you going to interview me? He's like,
Yeah.
nah, from your resume, you're perfect for the job. So I got the job straight away. And, you know, I was a senior manager in the insurance industry. Then I had my first child, and I was still in love with my job, went back to work after 6 months. Even though in Czech Republic, they have fantastic maternity leave. So you can be off work for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they have to give you a job back at your same salary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
Australian government, take note.
Yeah, exactly. And then the first 2 years, they have to give you your old job back. That's new. That's a new one. They have to give you your old job back, which is fantastic for a lot of women. But then after my third child, I realized I don't want to work for somebody else anymore. Like, I really enjoyed the time spending with my children. And I wanted a lot of more flexibility because I don't want to be tied to, like, you have to go to the office and tied to deadlines and everything. Well, deadlines that are not within my control.
Yeah, of course.
And then so my dad actually owns GE International Forwarding in Australia.
Yes.
So then I spoke to him and I said, you know, Dad, don't you want to open an office in Czech Republic?
How does Czech Republic sound for you?
Exactly.
You know, cold Czech Republic.
So I had actually previously sounded him out about it years ago, and he's like, oh, when the time is right, when the time is right. And then so I guess he had decided now that the time was right that he trusted me to do that. So so it's basically my own entity, but with his name on it. And I just jumped from insurance to freight forwarding, and I'm just, how do you call it? Building the boat while I'm sailing. Yeah.
That's amazing. What has been one of your challenges? Because again, we go back that they're totally like different universes.
Yeah.
Like in insurance, you have uncertainty, but there's like, you know, policies,
Exactly.
rules and things like that.
It's highly regulated.
Yes. And in freight forwarding, it's like a jungle.
It is.
Like you need to react. Just for you guys that doesn't know how freight forwarding works, it's pretty much regulations, customs. It's kind of when you fly from one country to another, but in cargo dimensions, meaning you need to put a cargo in a vessel that is going to transport it to somewhere else, meaning that it can be railed, it can be like an ocean ship, it can be a plane, or a parcel from one state to another. So, but everything on that, each of the states in every country has their own regulations, their own laws, their own weight limits, etc. So you are working with 1,000 variables.
Yes.
So you need to be really aware and pretty much controlling what it's happening with one shipment only.
Exactly. I think that my biggest learning was that I had to realize that, you know, we're part of GE International is part of a lot of freight forwarding networks. And sometimes you'll get business from another agent that's in Czech Republic that they need you to help. They need help with. And in the beginning, I was under the assumption that the other agents were experts in what they were doing. So if they told me something or if they wanted to get something's custom cleared, I'd be like, okay, great. Like I just took what they said at face value and passed that on to the customs agent. But I learned the hard way that sometimes other agents don't have a clue about what they're doing either. So I've learned to really thoroughly check everything and make sure everything's okay before I pass it on or before I make a booking myself.
It's what has been your biggest challenge from insurance to pass from insurance to the freight forwarding industry?
So that's I think it was the trusting that other people kind of know what they're doing. And I didn't realize how important it was that the documents, for example, AOA bills or Seaway bills, they are actual legal documents that are really important and can't have mistakes. So I didn't realize how much responsibilities freight forwarders take upon themselves. And I don't understand sometimes how customers would do it without a freight forwarder, to be honest. When you've got a business, whether it be like a small e-shop or another kind of business, how are you importing your goods to manufacture or selling them to your clients without a freight forwarder? It's kind of risky.
It is.
I realize that.
It is risky, and I think it's also kind of, I mean, freight forwarders are experts on what they do.
That's right, yeah.
Like, they have done it. Like, not everyone can, like, you have to be really disciplined and really meticulous to be into the freight forwarding industry, because as you said, there's many legal documents that you need to sign or someone else needs to sign, and that signature, it's like you're pretty much in charge for what happens to a cargo.
Exactly.
Like one person sitting in their desk and they're just like, oh, like a lot of people take it slightly.
Yeah, it's not.
Of what's happening there.
That's
and
right.
It's definitely
and that
not.
was my hugest learning. I thought, wow, like freight forwarders are super important, or having somebody that understands what they're doing in that industry is important.
And you've balanced this move from insurance to a freight forwarder, saying what we just said, like how tough and important and meticulous that it is, the job. You managed to balance it in a country that it's not yours and with 3 kids.
Yes. With the country that is not mine aspect of things, I'm really lucky because my husband works from home. So sometimes if I do get a call from a trucker, and I'll try with my basic check, because my check's good enough that they're going to give me a passport.
Yeah.
So my check's all right. But if we get to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't know what, I'll put him on hold. I'm like to my husband, please take this phone call.
I'll wash the dishes, but
So that's really lucky. And luckily my 2 older children go to school, and the little one, I work, when he sleeps. So luckily he takes a big sleep. Or you can see me sometimes at an indoor playground. He's playing, I'm on the computer, typing away and watching him, making sure he doesn't fall off a slide or something while I'm quickly sending an email. Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy. But I think the way that I've managed it, in the beginning, I was just trying to say yes to all the business that came through.
Yep.
No matter what it was, no matter how much margin I would make on it. But then actually once I started realizing, okay, the stress levels, because freight forwarding is super stressful.
Yeah.
And if you're only making a very small margin on a job, actually it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I've come to realize the jobs that I do want to say yes to and the jobs that I'm going to say no to.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt like it's okay to say no to business. Because sometimes I feel like, oh my God, if I say no, then I'm going to miss out on this money. But really, is it worth it at the end of the day to take the time away from the kids or to really stress about it? So I've learned the kinds of things that I actually should say no to.
Yeah, I think it's when it costs you time from your beloved ones and your mental health, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't worth it. And I'm assuming that's why, like one of the reasons that you went by yourself, because it's like, you want to make sure that you're not gonna, like your job, it's not gonna cost you moments with your kids.
Yes, that, and the fact that with my insurance business, I built up I built it up from nothing basically. So he had this insurance company that was big in Czech Republic, but he was looking to grow it in the UK side of things. So when I started, it was just me and like 2 guys, and I built it up to taking on more customers with the processes and the different types of insurance that we're doing. And I wanted to challenge myself I always thought I was great in that job, but I was like, okay, what would I do if it was my own business? Would I still be so great? Like, could I do it when I don't have actually something to start with? So
Yeah.
I want to give myself that challenge. And, I can't say right now that I'm successful. Maybe I'll come back in 1 year to your podcast. But the fact that I'm still going after a year, I'm pretty proud of that. So.
Of course, like especially with pretty much like the basic knowledge of the industry. Like obviously you have the Australian office that supports you, your dad that has a lot of knowledge in the industry.
Yes.
So it's you're not alone. Like you have people to back you up.
Exactly, definitely.
And I think that's really important as well for you to have, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, you said and you mentioned that your husband, it's also a backup in this journey, because I mean, otherwise they wouldn't pick you up your call.
No,
and like,
exactly.
it would be like,
really supportive,
lady, please, like call when you speak Czech.
Exactly, exactly.
And I'm thinking that the migration process, especially when you are a woman, because I think men are a little bit solo. I mean, they're used to like fly solo and lone wolves, and they're okay with, they're really not that complicated on connecting with people. When women, we're looking for something else to connect. Like, I want to make sure that I trust you. Like, I want to make sure that you're going to be reliable. I want to make sure. So building our support network, it's definitely way much more harder when we're women than men, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think the freight forwarding industry is quite male dominated, and so is insurance. Like,
100%.
Once you get to a certain tier of level of it within the company, you get a lot of females in operations and in sales, and then it gets less and less as the higher you go up. But I can't like the people that I've met throughout the networks, the men that I've met have been super supportive and willing to help me, even though it might be competition to their business. So I can't complain about that. So I've found a lot of support within the freight forwarding industry itself.
That's good. How was the support on the insurance side?
That was I wasn't really I can't really think about that, because I was from that industry, so it wasn't so scary. It was just applying what I'd already learned in Australia to the Czech Republic. But it was not, I built a great team and we became close, and we're still keep in touch about, I made a lot of friends in work.
Yeah. It's again, support network. Like, you go back to your support network, even at work. Like at work, I think it's one of the most important support networks that you need to have, because if something happens, like you went in a maternity leave 3 times, so obviously you need to rely on people for them to keep doing and to keep going the things that you left, and then for them to also reach out to say like, hey, I might need this, or because you get it in insurance. I think in any job you get a little bit like, calls of like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you, but like, how is this done, and things like that. So support in like at home, and then in the office, and in the industry per se, because at the end of the day, we come to an industry to keep learning and to be part of something. I think every human is trying to be part of a community, and it doesn't matter like the labels. It can be home, it can be like, neighborhood and things like that. So I think it's fair to make, your support networks and your community everywhere where you go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
On the personal side,
yes,
how challenging has it been, like with your kids and managing, because this just happened 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Like change of industry, you have a 1-year-old.
Yes.
So like under one, your baby, under one, your baby business. And under one as well, you coming to the industry. So how have you been able to manage and to level that demanding of yourself in pretty much every aspect?
Yeah, so for me, obviously, I don't have, I would say, a good personal network yet within Czech Republic because when I moved there, you know, I started working, then I got pregnant. So I've been, you know, pregnant or having babies for the past, you know, almost 10 years. So now that I've finished having kids and I've started this business, I'm hoping to start getting a more personal network. And I'm part of, you know, a lot of my friends are expats as well. So then they might move away. So I might make a friend for 2 years and then they'll move away to another country. So it's quite difficult. But obviously I had a good conversation with my husband before I decided to do this. And he said that he would support me when he can, which is great because he's also got his own business, so he can be quite flexible. So we tag team, we work really well together. So, you know, I went to a few conferences last year and then he had to look after the kids. So we're really good with working together to achieve both of our goals. Which
so
is really
it will
important.
be pretty much like team effort.
It's a team
Like,
effort.
it's a
definitely.
team effort.
Yeah.
It's really difficult when you are complying with your duties of a mom and a wife and a team player, and then as well being like 100% on your work. Because
I know, but that's where the saying no came in handy as well, because I had to turn some things down, and for me, I'm a bit of a type A personality, I would say. Routine's really important for me. So it's like I get up at the same time every day. You know, then my child is awake for a certain number of hours, then they sleep, you know, then I know exactly what times. Let's say if I need to meet someone face to face, I can do it between like 12 and 2. And I'll be like, okay, Lubo, my husband, you stay home, I'm going out. Sam will be sleeping. You know what I mean? Like
everything needs time perfect for it to work.
Like seriously, I'm that bad that like my husband always laughs because I will do shopping for 2 weeks. I'll do my meal plan for 2 weeks. I'll grocery shop and only buy the things that's on my plan. Then like at the end of the 2 weeks, at like 13 days, you open my fridge and it's like empty because, you know, the cycle starts again. So I think for me, being like really regimented, to an outsider, it might seem too much, but for me, it's really important to have that strict routine in place. And obviously there are things, you know, kids get sick and you have to be flexible. But, you know, I would say 90% of the time I'm in a strict routine. And I'll even, you know, I'll know when, but my husband doesn't get it sometimes. I'll be like, okay, you need to do this because I've got a shipment coming in and I need to do customs clearance. And it's like, what's the big deal? I'm like, no, like if you don't do customs clearance at this time, you're going to pay some penalties. Like, you know, the timings also.
I can get fined by the government.
Exactly. So yeah, I think a routine is really important as well for me anyway.
Yeah, of course. Like, I think especially like with the whole combo that you have, like routine, it's everything. Otherwise, like one crane doesn't, you know, if it's not working, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everything, it's like out of control.
Exactly. So I'm like juggling, you know, starting my own business. My husband can't cook, so I'm like cooking, looking after the baby and trying to stay in shape as well. You know, all mothers want to like get back into shape. So
What has been, I mean, this is a lot. I can hear like all the activities, and we don't have it together 100% of the time.
No.
Like it's hard for us to be functional 100% and to be this effective person, and like, you know, we don't work like a clock all the time. Like, yes, we have discipline, we have routines in order for us to be able to work it out, but we're not 100% like that. So what can be something that you will do if you ever feel like a burnout?
To be honest, for me, going to the gym, I was never, like, if anyone sees this that knows me from my younger days, like, I was never a fit person or an exercise person. But for me, like, going to the gym every day, and in Czech Republic, we're lucky we have sauna. So after you go to the gym, you go to the sauna. So like for me, like lying down in the sauna with no thoughts, and after going to the gym, even if I go work out for half an hour, or even if I don't work out, I'll just go to the sauna. For me, that's like my unwinding unwinding time.
Yeah, that's good because sometimes, yeah, you're right. You know what? I like sauna. I mean, right now it's
Yeah,
the
it's a
sauna.
sauna
It's
outside.
alright.
Yeah,
It's
we have a
outside.
sauna,
Yeah,
free sauna.
yeah. Melbourne weather, yes, sun outside. So it's obviously not ideal, but I think like kind of the sweating also takes away, like you
Oh
sweat
my
your
God.
problems
I'm
out.
telling you, before we came to Australia, everyone in my family was sick.
No.
Sick, cold, flus, everything, except for me. I'm like, I swear it's a sauna.
Yeah. You sweat the germs
Exactly.
out. I going back to your story, to your corporate story.
Yes, sure.
Because the industry where I mean, freight forwarding, it's also corporate, but it can be a little bit more flexible
Yeah.
because of the whole structure of the company. So, what has been something challenging from the corporate side to now going to your own business that you say, you know what, this is costing me a lot? Because, corporate rules, policies, everything, it's like a little bit, I don't want to say square, but a little bit square, especially in insurance, because you have a lot of things and a lot of rules written down for every case. And in freight forwarding, you need to react, like you need to be speed. So what has been a challenge that you have found from the corporate side passing to the freelance, if you want to call it like that, because it is freelancing?
Yeah. Well, obviously in corporate, you're working for a bigger company usually, and there's always someone to do something for you. If you want to report or if you want some data entry, there's probably someone there that can do that for you, a bit more of an expert. But within this venture, I have to do everything myself, from, all the data entry to the finance to the, I don't know, IT stuff. It's all on me. So that's probably been the most challenging aspect of it.
You're becoming, I'm really impressed and really, I'm really admired by you, because it's like keeping all together, starting a business, and then it's not even the main area of expertise that you have. Like you need to learn, like you've been learning a lot, because I'm a witness of it because I work with you. So it's like, I think I will not be able to do it. So,
well, it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, because let's say if I was just pure sales, because that's kind of, I would say my main job is to try and get business to come in.
Yeah.
But then I've also got to actually do the operational side as well. So I think it's actually a blessing in disguise that I'm learning those aspects, because I want to, my office of GE forwarding, like I don't know how it is in the Australian office, but I want to make it way more streamlined and way less dependent on humans.
Yeah.
So I like, there's a lot of, automations and things that can be done. So the fact that I'm so intimate with the operations, because there's I have no other employees right now. It's really a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. What was the thing that it clicked on you for you to want to change that from a corporate side? I mean, obviously your kids, it's the motivator, but when did you realize that it may click, that it's like, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to work for someone anymore?
Yeah, so I told you, like, after the first child, I went back after 6 months. I was so gung-ho, like my boss was like, when are you coming back? So I wanted to, go back, even though I didn't have to go back that early. Then with my daughter, I decided to take 2 years off. And, within that 2 years, the company had changed. And then when I went back, they gave me a role that was just a filler type of role. There'd be days that I'd be sitting there and I'm like, I've literally got nothing to do. And I'd tell my boss, like, can I have some work? And it was just like, they'd shoved me into a corner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm the one that like built the company up to what it is.
Yeah.
And now you're shoving me in this corner. It was really hurtful.
It is.
And it was really demoralizing. And I felt like, I don't know, I like, it was kind of like the worst breakup maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, it wasn't a nice feeling.
It's not. I think, if I would have been in that position, which, not with a pregnancy, but I've been there before, when you go back and sometimes they're just like, oh no, like she came back, like she's probably not gonna be the same person, or she's not gonna be able to keep up with things, because she just had a baby. And it's like, yes, I met a human. What what other proof you want to know that I can do pretty much everything?
Exactly.
Because I made 3 humans, and it's like you didn't become dumber by,
Exactly. That's what I felt like. And I get that, the business, you're not irreplaceable.
Yeah.
I'm an egomaniac. I thought I was irreplaceable, but I at least thought they'd have something, because it wasn't a huge company. It was like a small to medium sized company.
Yeah.
That they'd have something more to my skill level, because I felt like they were just giving me a job that someone out of school or a junior could do.
Yeah.
Even though it was on my same salary. So it just goes to show that the money doesn't even matter, because I was still on my previous salary, because legally they had to keep me on that salary. So I'm like, why are you paying me this much money to that was kind of insulting as well. I'm just like, you can use my brain. So like me moving to I could not do work at all if I wanted to, right? So we're a bit fortunate with my husband that if I wanted to just be a stay-at-home mum, I could do that. But I don't want to do that. I want to use my brain and build something for myself. So then when the opportunity came up with my dad, I just grabbed it, even though I had no idea what I was doing.
And that definitely shows the capacity of your brain, because you managed to build this company from scratch in 1 year, and it's doing really good. I mean, there are a lot of companies that they don't pass 6 months.
Yeah.
So they get stuck in a lot of ways that they probably might have all the energy in that company. And I mean, you have your energy in that company, but you also have like a personal life and have a lot of you have other projects that it's your family.
Yeah, that's right. But I have to tell you, like, for anyone that's out there, like, looking to start their own business, you have to have thick skin.
Yeah.
You have to, for me, that's the biggest lesson I had. As like, you need to be able to take rejection and just get back up and keep going.
Yeah. It's
because I got so much rejection in the beginning of like trying to start this business, trying to find suppliers, and people would just tell me to get lost.
Yeah, it's and you know what? It's funny that you say the rejection part, because it comes handy as well of being a mom, because your kids are going to tell you off and are going to tell you no, right, like 1,000 times, like put your shoes on. No.
Yeah.
Like, negotiation skills
Exactly.
are actually like
That's
needed
true.
with kids, because it's like, if you do this, you're going to get that and things like that. So, I mean, that thick skin, you already had it for the mom side.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, definitely business requires thicker skin.
Yeah, it does.
And it's I'm not saying that everyone in business it's cold, because it's not like that, but you definitely sometimes need to be able to be cold-minded to take decisions. And people can take it of like, and unfortunately, and I'm going to be stepping into a little bit of a feminist topic here, that when you're a woman, you are told that it's like, oh, she has an attitude. But if you're a man and if you're doing the same,
you're
it's
powerful.
like you're powerful and you're just like, so you're someone to follow and things like that. But when you're a woman, you're like, oh, shouldn't you put a smile on your face, or shouldn't just like,
I know. But at the same time, like, you might not like this as a strong feminist.
No. Like, that's the beauty of feminism, that you can discuss and you have your opinion and I have mine. So bring it.
So for me, the one thing as well is that sometimes you can use those feminine ways to your advantage, I guess. Because one of the, it's really difficult to get set up with air freight in any country because of the regulations to do with IATA numbers and everything. So in Czech Republic, it took me about 9 months until I got set up for air freight. So it was a long time of really trying hard and just getting knocked back.
Yeah.
So I couldn't offer my clients air freight out of Czech Republic until September of last year. So and the very first person that I had a meeting with, he was the catalyst to opening up the doors to a lot of other places. But then, I was like, oh, can you help me? I'm not really sure what I'm doing. And he took me under his wing and helped me out. So sometimes it is good to use that helplessness to your advantage, even though that might not be how you really are. So.
Yeah, it's but you know what? It's also, and it is actually feminist, because you are also knowing that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And I think in business, that's also like, you also need to be humble in order to succeed, because you need to recognize that you don't know everything. And especially like when you're offering a service, it's like, well, I probably don't have it, but let me learn for me to be like competitive, like have this competitive advantage in a market that it's full of everyone it's offering this right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I mean, yes, you can use it, but it's not precisely something that it's bad. It's actually good because you're being humble enough to say, you know what, I don't know anything. And I mean, I don't know everything, and that's
Help
fine.
me. Yeah,
but
me.
I want to learn.
Yeah.
And it's really important that you, we bring it back again to the case of the corporate versus like your freelance, that you knew that you weren't an expert on this, but you wanted to do it because you have a motivator.
Yeah.
And you weren't like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, no, I probably don't know how, but I am going to do it.
But naively, I will say that naively in the beginning, I'm like, oh, my dad does it. How hard can it be? And then I'm like, it can be really hard. So, sorry about that. Like in the beginning, just
sorry,
naively,
Dad.
I'm like, come on, it's like shipping parcels from this country to this country. How hard can it be? It's hard.
Yeah, you know what? In the freight forwarding industry, we do get that a lot. It's like, well, you book it, then move it from one side
How
to
hard can
another.
it be? Like,
and it's like, no, darling, hold my beer and I'll tell you how it's done.
Exactly.
And especially explain it to someone else.
Yeah, when you explain it, it sounds so easy, right? When you
it does.
Yeah,
it does.
But it's not.
Like I like to explain it like the example of the air, like of the airplane when you travel.
Yeah,
like someone is gonna pick you up, and then it's gonna take you to the airport. And in the airport, you need to go to a customs clearance process, and then you're gonna get into a vessel, which in this case it's the aircraft, and it's gonna take you somewhere else. And when you land, you're gonna do another customs process, and then you're gonna deliver to your place. So it's kind of like, I like to put it simple like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, so that sounds easy. It's like, it does. But now try it like with cargo, that you don't know what the container is. Like you need to, because I mean, when you're speaking of humans, obviously it's a little bit easier. But when you're speaking of cargo, every cargo has their specification and their own customs clearance and their own requirements to go to another country and to be exported. And probably some, there are some countries that actually they don't, they've banned things to getting imported or to getting exported because countries are experts on doing that, so they rather to consume local. And that's how
Thank you for teaching me that.
So yeah, pretty much it's like that. So there might be people that they don't know that, and when someone wants to export something and they come like, oh, well, you need this certificate or you need this authorization, like probably if it's a humanitarian aid, and if that's so, like, that's okay. But there's a lot of people that they don't understand, like, well, I want to make business, like the government is forbidding me from making business.
Exactly.
You do understand the customer, but at the same time, it's like, I understand where you're coming from, but I also know what is required. So let me help you.
Exactly. And like, for example, one of my biggest, or well, my only client right now, but they're my biggest client. They do cross-border trade. So I'm their freight forwarder, but you know, it can be from China to anywhere. They're manufacturing in China, but it can be to anywhere in the world, not just Czech Republic. Yeah. So they recently, I've been helping them with all around the world, and they've recently had their first shipment to Egypt, and that was, you know, we're both learning, and I'm trying to help them navigate that. So
yeah, especially with the Middle Eastern countries, like it doesn't matter if they're not in war or they're not involved at all. Like there's a lot of trade that they forbid to pass through there because they probably think that might contain a liquid, and that liquid specifically it's made to make something bad regarding war and in another country, and it might go like through there. So like there's a lot of regulations that go around that, and you need to be informed, and you need to inform a customer. And if they don't know, or I mean, there are a lot of things honestly on freight forwarding that might sound dumb, but when you know the thing behind it, it's like, oh yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah. So it's you need to have a lot of information in your head. Yeah, it's a lot.
Like I'm just keeping a database of every country and their interesting rules that I'm finding out. So yeah, I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough, especially again learning. And the worst part is that government also affects like whatever is happening with the countries and their politics. It doesn't need to do related to like cargo or like import and exports, but you also need to know a lot of the regulations for like humans, because probably the government, they just released like a law that it's going to be forbid or doing something that it's going to affect the town, and then the town is like, oh well, we're going to block, you know, a whole avenue, and then you get a block, then that's going to disrupt the whole operation. So you not only need to know about customs, you also need to know about
political
like
situation.
political situations. Yeah, it's a lot of information, guys, that you need to have in your brain.
Yes.
So in the definitely, this is like a big adventure that you have started, like between
huge.
corporate, being a mom, being also a new mom again, and like, well, having a new baby and things like that, and balancing that you don't speak the language. And this is a whole this is a lot of circles that are moving at the same time, and you're trying to, you know, balance it all. So if you could go back, and I like to do this exercise,
Okay,
because you know the trend right now, that it's like, oh, it's 2026, and what were you doing on 2016?
Yeah.
So I recently started doing that, and I took it more on the personal side, like, oh my gosh, if I would have told Michelle of 2016 that I was gonna be in Australia, and the whole story, like, what will be a advice that you will give to your younger self, knowing what you know? I'm gonna do mine first,
Okay, go.
because I like to, so on Instagram, I like to do this section that it's called Trust the Process, which is pretty much just me like prepping food, which in the Mexican cuisine, we prepare a lot of food, but it requires like 1,000 pans, and you need to make a salsa in one, and then you need to have everything. So I like to put like pretty much all the ingredients, that disaster, and then the final dish, which is pretty much trust the process. So I think what I will say to myself, it will be that trust the process. That's because fantastic. I know where I've been, I know where I want to go, and sometimes, I mean, especially freight forwarding sometimes make you a little bit anxious, because you need to, there's a lot of waiting, there's a lot of things that are not on your control, and they're on control of third parties, governmental entities, and 1,000 people that contribute to just one shipment. And you can get a little bit anxious because you want things to speed up and happen. And sometimes it is not like that. Things take your time. So my advice for 2016 myself is trust the process.
That's fantastic. If I think back to 10 years ago, I was 33, and I will never forget, it was my 33rd birthday, and I'd gone out for dinner with my sister who just had a baby. And I was just like, I remember coming home and being so depressed. I'm like, oh, I'm never going to like meet a guy, and I'm never going to have kids. And I was just like, you know, sitting in my share house, just feeling like really down about myself.
Yeah.
And I just wish that I could go back to that 33-year-old Carine and give her a hug, and the same as well, be like, just everything will happen when it's meant to happen. Yeah. And just don't be so down on yourself.
Yeah, I think especially, I mean, I'm 33 years old myself, and I can definitely relate to that. And I actually did that exercise of 2016. And when I saw who I was a year ago and who I am right now, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like you're the person that you needed when you were like 10 years ago. Like if you go back and you tell Michelle of 2016, like, you're this person, your friends are amazing, your mom, you have an amazing relationship with your mom and dad, you have beautiful nieces and nephews, like, you know, you did it, like, you're proud of yourself. That grounded me a lot, because I was like, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm not enjoying who I am at the moment. I mean, I am now, but I wasn't until I did that exercise of like, I was wishing to be this person at 2016, like, enjoy it, embrace it, and hug it. And it's like, I'm working in what I love, because freight forwarding, I love it. And everyone that knows me, they do know that it's my passion.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
It's like, you're working on something that you love. You're doing this, you're doing that. And it's like, it's okay to sit down and enjoy your work, because as women, we're always like expected to, like, what else? What is next? You have a boyfriend. Okay, what's next? Are you gonna get married? Okay, you got married. Okay, are you gonna have kids? Okay, when's that? So you start always like working towards something, and like, you know, pulling the carriage, and then you forget to sit down in the carriage and just in a shade and just be like, okay, I can enjoy what I've done, because I am in a point where I am blessed and I've worked to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And I, you know, as a busy mum as well, sometimes you get like really stressful with the kids or whatever. And another thing I like to do is pretend that I'm 80 years old and I've just woken up and this is a dream. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in this dream where my kids are small again and they're screaming, and I've got 50 million things to do. But it's, you know, it's fantastic because, you know, I'm back here and I'm not old. You know what I mean? Like, I like to do that activity a bit.
Yeah. I've to be honest, I've never done it until now, you know, the trending of 2026 and 2016.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to do it definitely more often, because I forget myself that I've worked a lot to be where I am, and I've done a lot emotionally and mentally to be who I am. Like, definitely Michelle of 2016, she had less wrinkles, and she was fun, and she has a better kidney.
Believe me that Michelle of 43 will look back and be like, damn, 33-year-old Michelle was hot. Like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? Believe me.
I know. Yes. And it's enjoying that. Like, you know, you get to a point when you think you are lost. And I think those moments, you embrace them a lot, and you're just like, what am I doing? Like, is this what I want? And you question yourself. But then when you shift the perspective of like, okay, I'm so blessed to be sitting down, or at least in my point of view, I'm so blessed to be sitting down in a house that I'm paying with the salary that a work pays me, and a work that I enjoy doing.
Exactly.
With my dogs.
And you're healthy.
And I'm healthy. And it's costing me, you know, during the holidays, it costs you a little bit more doing, like, working out, because it's like, one piece of bread, like, you know, potatoes like and things like that. Yeah, it's like a cheat month. And I was honestly struggling to go back into my working out routine. So, and when I had that moment of realization, I was like, I can move my body. And I'm so blessed for that. And it's like, it should be motivate me to keep doing it, because I want to be able to keep moving my body until I'm 90, 100.
Yeah,
so it was like, okay, this goes for future Michelle. Like, okay, I really don't feel future like Michelle it right now.
Will be thanking you.
But yeah, that's definitely something that I like to do, like being present and then go back to the past and then come back to the present. And now I think I'm gonna apply that that is like, close your eyes and then come back, and you woke up and you were, you know,
it was a dream. Like, you're 80 years old, and now this is the dream. Like, and you got your kids being young or whatever. You're in this moment, you know, before you're 80, you're old, you're frail, and now you're strong. And Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so believe me, you know, I'm 10 years older than you. You will look back at your 33-year-old self. Sometimes I'm like, why was I thinking that I was like fat or ugly? I'm like, I was fine. Like, damn, I was hot. No wonder my husband liked me. So yeah, don't be so hard on yourself, because if I think back to that time at 33, I'll never forget. I was sitting on the sofa just feeling really down about myself, and I just wish that I could give myself a hug and be like, nah, it does get better.
It does. I think that's what I definitely want to wrap with this. Like, it does get better. It's tough. It is hard. And there's 1,000 things that are going to be happening at a time, trying to, like, you know, distract you for your main goal. But I think if your main goal, it's positive for you and your beloved ones, the path, it's going to open itself.
That's right.
And
you never know where life
that.
will take you, and just trust it. Like you said, trust the process.
Yes.
I love that.
I know. So, Carine, you have just 1 year with the company.
Yes.
Where do you see it in 5 years?
So
Like, where do you want to grow it? What's your plan?
Yeah.
Now that you know about the industry, now that you know about the business, now that you've done a lot of things that a lot of people, they don't do with their freight forwarders in the first 5 years, you've done it in 1 year. So you should be proud of yourself. For someone that has worked in the industry for 10 years already, you should be very proud of yourself. Let me tell you that.
Thank you so much.
But I definitely want to hear where you want to take it. What's your next step? Tell me about it.
So basically, the first year was just setting the groundwork. And I believe that I've now set a good groundwork, and I've got the suppliers, a lot of suppliers in place that I needed to have. So I wasn't really focused on sales this first year. That was a back seat. And it was lucky that I did have some sales so that I could just learn a bit about the different types of freight forwarding. So I wasn't focused at all on sales this year. So beyond 2026, I'll be focusing on sales and just really going out there and doing a lot of sales activity to try and bring in some business. I would like to, by the end of this year, at least be having the similar salary that I was having in corporate. That will be a big milestone for me, that I'm able to kind of like break even, or just at least have that salary component as part of it. And in 5 years' time, I would like to see myself having my own premises with a warehouse. So we'll check back in 5 years. Like, to me, having a warehouse and having a proper premises and maybe another few offices in Europe, that's my ultimate goal.
That would be great.
Yeah.
You were saying as well the aspect to not rely much on humans, and especially AI, it's really important nowadays, because, I mean, realistically, we want AI to be like to do the hard work for us, and then, you know, for us to enjoy life. So on AI, what are your plans?
So once again, I'm lucky that my husband has his own business in that space. So again, in 2026, we'll be focusing on probably building some AI agents that can automate a lot of the tasks. So, you know, there's a lot of manual tasks in freight forwarding, and ChatGPT can help with some, but I want to make it more tailored towards freight forwarding, and see if I can, you know, reduce one headcount. You know, I it's important to have humans as well, because there is a human element that can't be taken over by AI. But I do want to have, you know, at least one FTE being a robot, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Can we dress the robot?
Sorry?
Can we dress the robot?
Can we dress it? Yeah, why not? Maybe those nails that I'm shipping would come in handy.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Carine.
No, thank you, Michelle.
I wish you the best. Definitely, this is something I'm gonna take home to embrace and think all the things that we have.
That was a great experience.
I know. Where we can find you on Instagram, LinkedIn, or how can we reach out to you?
Yes,
and G International.
I don't have a huge social media presence. I'm that era. I don't know. What am I? Am I a boomer? No, I'm not a boomer. I don't know what I am, but I don't have.
I got lost when they started naming them A, B, Z, and things like that. It's like, no, I got lost.
We have a GE forwarding Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn at Carine Osusky.
Perfect.
On LinkedIn. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Carine, and we'll see each other in 5 years. I mean, hopefully this project is still going. So thank you very much for joining us.
You.
And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.